this is the number one things that people get tripped up on, is that people think that the point of meditation is to quiet the mind. And if I could just stop my stupid brain from thinking, then I will be happy. It doesn't work that way. Especially with Ziva Meditation, what you're doing is that you're utilizing a tool, like an ancient tool, a meaningless primordial sound that's allowing the body to access this rest state that I'm talking about, but also the body starts releasing that dopamine and serotonin. So what you're doing is that you're engendering a visceral experience of fulfillment internally. And then the mind cannot conceive of a thought that would bring it greater fulfillment than it is already experiencing, and then the mind falls silent. So it's not, if I can stop my mind from thinking, then I will be happy. It's like, once I experience this fulfillment, then the mind falls silent as a result. And it is that phenomenon of you accessing that field, which I call the unmanifest, you going into the unmanifest, that is what allows you to bend spoons. That is what allows you to bend reality. Because if you want to manifest anything, you have to first go into the unmanifest. And this is the piece that everyone is missing.
Hi, this is JP Newman of Fulfillionaire, and today I'm here with Emily Fletcher. Emily, I've been wanting to get you on my show for a while. It's so great that you're in Austin and we get to do this together.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I've wanted you, 2 years, I think I've willed and manifested for you to be on Fulfillionaire. So this is just great.
I'm really excited.
And Emily, what's so great and why I've been wanting to share your secret with the audience is that you've obviously founded Ziva Meditation, which is the largest online meditation platform, not just the first meditation platform, but 250,000 people have taken the Ziva meditation, including me.
Yay! It makes me so happy.
And what I love about not only you teaching meditation to the masses, but I know you talk a lot about pleasure. I mean, you go into all these other areas beyond just quieting down the mind and quieting down the body, but really how to create the most pleasure in life and the most joy and aliveness. And I think it's interesting to think about that meditation can be sexy. And also, for my audience, everyone's trying to figure out hacks on how to make money. So the idea that meditation can create more prosperity for you and could be incredibly sexy and productive and really create new things for you that maybe you never expected is super cool. And I know you've spoken at Harvard, Google, some Fortune 500, large corporations about this. You wouldn't think that a meditation teacher would be at all these large companies. Mm-hmm. Tell me, when Harvard's calling you to come in to speak, what are they seeking from you, from Ziva?
Well, I think that we're all trying to get out of the I'll be happy when syndrome, even if we don't know it. And I think this is where our work really overlaps, is that many of us have sort of inadvertently been subscribed to the acquisitive approach to fulfillment, right? If I could just acquire my way, if I could just have one more zero, one more girlfriend, one more car, one more deal, one more acquisition, then I will be happy.
Right.
And we know that day never comes. In fact, just the opposite. For me, it was when I was a little girl, I wanted to be on Broadway. Since I was 8, I just wanted to be on Broadway. And voice lessons, dance classes, acting classes. And I was so happy as I was pursuing my goal. 3 weeks after my Broadway debut was the saddest I had ever been. And so at 22 years old, even though I was so lucky, got my Broadway debut, I felt lost. I felt sad because I felt like my goal had been taken away from me. And so what I learned at a really young age is that I was more interested in the happiness of pursuit than the pursuit of happiness.
I love that, by the way. Let's just let's take a minute on that, because that also relates so much to money, right?
Yep.
The happiness of pursuit versus the pursuit of happiness, and how people get it backwards. And I can tell you with money all the time, that happens all the time. You're so busy chasing that when you get there, it's not what you think it's going to be.
Right. Well, it's the story you were just telling where it's if your bank account is growing and it's getting bigger, then you feel like you're moving towards your goal. But the second it starts contracting or it's going down, then it creates panic and fear and scarcity and self-worth issues.
Yeah.
And so it's not that meditation necessarily makes you immune to that, because I will not claim immunity from that. But I do believe that what meditation allows you to do is to plug into that which cannot be named and that which does not change. You're able to actually access the field itself, creative intelligence itself, the void. And while I don't think that is the point, right? I think a lot of meditation teachers or meditators or spiritual people in general, they get a little consumed with the techniques or the tools or the process. And I have been saying this since the beginning of my career, is that we meditate to get good at life, not to get good at meditation.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of guilt in that. I'm now a student of Ziva. And as I said, the biggest hack was getting the relief of like, not everything's going to be white light hitting you in the face every time you meditate. Sometimes you're just going to feel like 30% more relaxed and more in your body. And that's a huge win, especially if you did it in the morning, how it's like sets the tone for your day. But you've actually given relief probably to a lot of people, which is why your program's so popular, to like, it's just a hack for life.
Yes.
And every now and then you're going to get these amazing meditations that might give you some bonus rounds. You do a...
Yeah, but like, I don't care. Really, even though I've dedicated almost 2 decades of my life to this thing, I don't care what's happening for you when you're sitting in a chair with your eyes closed. I care, how are you as a father? How are you as a husband? How are you as a CEO? How are you as a neighbor? How are you as a citizen? Right? Like, are you bringing that fulfillment to your family, to your job, to your employees? Or are you using your family, your job, your money as a way to fulfill yourself?
Yeah.
And this is really where I think that the hack comes, if there is one, is that if you have a meditation practice or some way to plug yourself into divinity itself, or whatever you want to call that which cannot be named, right? Some way to ground yourself, to anchor into your own sense of self, then, and especially with meditation specifically, you're flooding your brain and body with dopamine and serotonin, which are bliss chemicals. And so very much on a neurological level, you are then making your body the body of fulfillment. And yet you still have a desire. Right. So I woke up this morning, I meditated, and I still wanted to do a good job on the podcast with JP. Right. I still wanted to have a great date tonight. I still wanted to be a good mom for my son. So why are those desires there? What meditation does is that it transitions you from being need, looking to be fulfilled, and it turns you into fulfillment, looking for need. And that reverse, that Jedi trick makes you irresistible to money. It makes you irresistible to dates.
I have chills right now. I literally have chills because I know that to be so true.
It's like detachment is sexy. Neediness is not. Wow. And if you have a daily meditation practice that is plugging you into your own source energy, flooding your brain and body with dopamine and serotonin and bliss and fulfillment, there's no way that you're not going to show up better at the pitch meeting. There's no way you're not going to show up better at the negotiation. There's no way you're not going to show up better on your date with your wife.
100%. Sometimes too, like I've been meditating for 25 years and I still think I joke and say I'm still in kindergarten because there's so many layers to go.
Beginner's mind.
And the one thing I've learned, and I would say for the audience, I'm sure a lot of you say, I've heard this meditation thing. It's not for me. I just can't do it. I know for me, like even this morning, I'll do 7 minutes of breath work before I meditate. And like, I'm just playing with my body, the idea of in and through the body. And then I can go right to your meditation after that. And I'm like 50% more potent. So I can literally in 7 minutes change my state. And that's just literally mechanical breathing, guys. There's nothing special. It's just breathing and then having a framework. And Ziva's been my framework through a mantra. Just focusing on a mantra. And then again, being easy on yourself, even with the mantra. Like I do drift a lot and then come back to the mantra.
Yeah. Well, something that I want to
cool.
just highlight is that, a lot of people think that meditation is about focusing the mind or quieting the mind. And there are practices that are about that. There's many, many monastic practices or Buddhist practices where it's about single point of focus, where you're concentrating and training your attention. That's amazing. I would call that mindfulness. Anywhere where the left brain is online, where you have a single point of focus, great. Very specific. It's like golf and football, different sports. Whereas Ziva is based on something called Nishkam Karma Yoga, which is really just a fancy way of saying lazy meditation.
Right.
So it's about giving your body very deep healing rest. And this is also an important point because it is the rest that your body receives during the meditation that allows it to heal the lifetime of accumulated stresses. And it is the healing of the accumulated stresses, which includes lack and scarcity and proving and unworthiness. Like all those are just other words for stress.
Right.
So if you go to the root cause of that stress and heal that and allow the body to feel safe and fulfilled internally, it's through this de-excitation, the rest, the lack of focus, that actually with Ziva, it feels more like a nap sitting up, and the whole body goes into this pre-hypnagogic state. It's like just before sleep, where the right and left hemispheres of the brain are starting to function in unison. And from that deep, restful state, the body can actually heal and regenerate, almost like a fasting state.
Yeah.
When you go into a fasted state and you're not eating, body's not busy digesting, so it can actually start to release and expel. Same thing with the mind and the body. If you're not thinking and taking things in all the time, the body can start to purge and release. And it is the expulsion of the many decades of accumulated stresses that ushers us into higher states of consciousness. And one of the attributes of higher states of consciousness is the ability to see and perceive trends before they happen, the ability to see and perceive patterns before they happen, which is why I believe Ray Dalio attributes, he says, actually, I think his quote is, I attribute 100% of my success to meditation because it has allowed him to see and perceive patterns before they happen.
Wow.
And one of the things you were going to ask me about was presence.
Yeah.
My teacher says that the present moment is the future in the making. So the more present you can be right here, right now, you can see the future in the making. But if you're distracted, you're not present, you're busy, you're in your phone, you're stressing about the future or the past, you might miss that someone's lying to you in a meeting. You might miss that someone's
100%.
nervous in an interview. You might miss that someone's like, not tipping the waiter on a first date. And it's like those little details that maybe even your mind doesn't notice, but your body does when you're fully present.
Yeah.
Like those are the gut decisions that shape often our financial and romantic futures.
It's cool. I thought this episode was going to be about, I talked about the 5 dimensions of wealth and the 5 Ps. Your prosperity is your anchor for your purpose wealth, your people wealth, your presence wealth. And I thought this was about presence, and then your play wealth. And then you said to me, well, JP, think about it. What you're talking about now, that quietness affects all your other Ps, like all the Ps. It's not just presence wealth when you meditate.
Mm-hmm.
You're hacking. If you want to have success, financial success and fulfillment, meditation's actually hacking all of those at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you're talking, I'm listening to what you're saying, I have that experience a lot. And I would tell you guys as a confessional of my Ps, my most challenging P is presence, which is why I love your thing. Like I still feel like I'm at the point where if I'm in a go-kart, I'm gas braking because I notice I get ahead of myself because I'm a hyper processor and I think fast, which makes me a really good businessman because usually I can negotiate. Like one of my favorite things to do is to negotiate, find deals and negotiating them. I'm like a Labrador retriever. There's not, I just love taking it apart and figuring it out. And that brain has done so much for me. I call it the Ferrari 12-cylinder brain of just thinking fast. And it can get in my way and trip me because that Ferrari brain sometimes keeps me out of that state. And by the that state, by the way, is not just about like catching the subtle cues. I actually think there's an energy to that state. In my experience, when you're more present, not only are you like more aware of what's around you, other cues that you could be missing, I find for me energetically, I can transmit, I know this is going to sound a little woo-woo, but I can actually transmit more of what I want. Sometimes I feel as I'm getting like further down this journey, I feel like I can bend a spoon, which I know some people can physically bend a spoon. I feel like I can bend a deal spoon or a negotiation into my court. I can get prices to go to where I want them. And it's not that I'm even trying. The quietness, a little more quietness. It's not perfectly quiet because there is a revving Ferrari in that brain.
But it's not about stopping the mind from thinking. Okay, and this is the number one things that people get tripped up on, is that people think that the point of meditation is to quiet the mind. And if I could just stop my stupid brain from thinking, then I will be happy. It doesn't work that way. Especially with Ziva Meditation, what you're doing is that you're utilizing a tool, like an ancient tool, a meaningless primordial sound that's allowing the body to access this rest state that I'm talking about, but also the body starts releasing that dopamine and serotonin. So what you're doing is that you're engendering a visceral experience of fulfillment internally. And then the mind cannot conceive of a thought that would bring it greater fulfillment than it is already experiencing, and then the mind falls silent. So it's not if I can stop my mind from thinking, then I will be happy. It's like once I experience this fulfillment, then the mind falls silent as a result. And it is that phenomenon of you accessing that field, which I call the unmanifest, you going into the unmanifest, that is what allows you to bend spoons. That is what allows you to bend reality. Because if you want to manifest anything, you have to first go into the unmanifest. And this is the piece that everyone is missing. Everyone's just trying to do vision boards and being like, okay, here's our quarterly goals and let's just work harder and go do more deals and do more calls. And yes, you have to take action, right? Like you're not making $100 million by sitting on your ass and just manifesting it. Like part of that is, and the thing we say at Ziva is grounded in being, perform action. Grounded in capital B, being, perform action. But this piece, because we've so like hyper prioritized and I think like over prioritized the action piece, we've forgotten about the rest. We've forgotten about going into the unmanifest. And that's what the Ziva meditation parts does. And then the manifesting you're naturally really good at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting. Again, I laugh because I'll take the laziest ways when it comes to working out or meditation.
Yeah, I got you.
My workout program started with one of my best friends, Tristan, and he promised me great abs. If I would do his program twice a week for 30 minutes, I would go to his dojo, and I did it for 10 years because anyone who can promise me good abs in like 30 minutes each, like I'm in.
Yeah.
And really where Ziva got me was when you said, you can only do this for 10, 20 minutes a day, twice a day though. You are emphatic about twice a day and we'll talk about that. But like, that's what actually brought me in because I feel like everybody's guilting me. If I don't sit for an hour, like I'm not going to get the benefits. I'll never find enlightenment. I'll never find these things. Like I can never quiet the mind enough unless I just do Vipassana for 13 days of silence, or I go into a dark box for 5 days and eat my food like a prisoner in solitary confinement. And your message was so refreshing because a lot of my meditation has been built on guilty of not being enough.
Oh, that makes me so sad that the very thing that is designed to help you access your inner fulfillment would make you feel like you're not enough. And
I'm not enough. I'm not good enough.
But here's the thing I want to liberate you from, and anyone who's listening that feels like they're a meditation failure because they can't quiet their mind, they can't sit still, they feel like they're falling asleep, they simply don't have the time, they don't have the skills. And just like people are not trained in money, people are also not trained in meditation, which is absurd to me, right? Like you don't have money, you're going to die. You don't know how to meditate. This is the thing that is programming your brain, which is responsible for every single decision that you make in every single cell that is printed in your body, is going through your brain. So if you don't have time to tend to your brain, what the fuck else are you doing with your time?
Wow.
Like truly.
I love that. And you're not talking about taking hours out of your life.
No, 15 minutes twice a day. And Tony Robbins
you're
says,
scrolling. If you took your scrolling down by 2%, you could take the time to meditate.
Like, I don't have time to meditate. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Oh, 3 hours on Instagram yesterday. What if you spent 10% of that flooding your brain and body with dopamine and serotonin and accessing the void, accessing the quantum field?
Yeah. And
by the way, it is going into the quantum field where you get to then, what I call, like jokingly, like you place the order with the cosmic server at the cosmic restaurant, but you don't get access to her or him if you don't go into the restaurant. And the meditation is the thing that gets you into the restaurant, like into the field of infinite potentiality, the field of limitless possibility. And a lot of people they don't correlate those two. They think, oh, if I'm sitting and meditating, I'm wasting my time, when nothing could be further from the truth. Because like what you said, I'm bending these deals and people are like, I'm getting numbers to go to where I want them to. And also not for nothing, like I feel like you're much more present now than the last time I saw you. Yeah. Now, it could just be that you're tuning to my frequency because you're doing this meditation. And so I am biased because I like this frequency. That's possible that we just are more resonant. Yeah. And I think that you are more grounded, more present, it's not slower. It's that like the brain and body are functioning more in unison versus the Ferrari running ahead of the body. Yeah. And I know this because I also have a Ferrari brain. And so it goes really, really fast. And I'm working on getting them.
You know, it's interesting, like as I'm speaking, but thank you. And I think that's actually right. But even as I speak to you right now, I am flooded with so much energy naturally. That's like the playful side of me. Mm-hmm. And so as I speak to you, it's very interesting because my experience right now is like I'm completely present with you, and there's a surge of energy in my body at the same time. It's
is
super
that
interesting.
Always the way, or you're having that now?
I'm having that this experience right now.
So I would call that life force, like pure life force. I call it creation energy. And I liken that, I think it can be equated to sexual energy. Mm-hmm. And again, just like we're not taught about money, we're not taught about sex either. And to me, sexual energy does not have to be sexualized, right? Like that's one expression of it would be any physical act with a partner. Yeah. But the energy itself, just like money, is neutral.
Interesting.
right? It's not good or bad. It's not even sexual in nature. It just is.
Just is.
But it is it is the most creative magnetic force on the planet.
Mm.
And if you know how to harness that, and even more powerfully, if you know how to channel that, to bring that creation energy from your root up into your heart or up into your vision, it can fuel your dreams and accelerate your manifestations in a very, very exciting way. I mean, it's called magic for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not magic. There's an extraordinary amount of neuroscience, and people have been practicing it for thousands of years in almost every indigenous civilization.
Yeah.
But we call it magic because it's so foreign to us as Westerners, because we've been so shamed around it and so divorced from this flavor of our own divinity.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's the energy that's happening in your body, but I just invite all of us to perhaps reclaim that life force, that current, that pure potentiality, that creation energy, and then perhaps learn to harness it to create whatever it is we want to create in the world. Might be a baby, might be a company, might be a book.
And absolutely, and really, really think about it. Well, first of all, I want to presence that. I just thank you, because the minute I'm off the hook for not having to slow my mind down and actually embracing the Ferrari mind, like I literally, here I am present with you, and my body's ready. My body could run a marathon, it feels like right now. And that is like such a blessing. But if again, if you think meditation's about closing your eyes and slowing your pulse and like doing all those things, it's almost would be, for me, it's against my very nature. The way I'm built, and I know everyone's built differently, is I am built as a high energy machine. I always have been. It's a lot of life force, and I think you're probably the same way. I think we look at each other and kind of just know that. So I really appreciate the framework of like, and it really resonates to harness the life force in a way that, because I can tell you right now, as part of Fulfillionaire, the more I go deep into my 4 Ps, particularly the presence and particularly the play, it creates a lot more life force for me. It's almost like every time I go deeper. And by the way, it creates a lot more money. I got to tell you, money is just coming too. So of my Ps, it's almost becoming like a kid who's just playing. But the more I actually dive in and commit to the presence wealth, which is, again, I didn't say time wealth. Everyone's teaching time wealth. I'm not here to tell you how to time manage. I'm talking about how much time are you spending living in presence, waking up happy, going to sleep peacefully, and living your day mostly in presence. Because like I'm looking forward to meditate with you when this is over, a little pit stop, because it is this dance. Instead of trying to like, I always need to be present or I always need to be on, it's like, that's not reality. We go through these waves of energy. But I love what you're saying. And my soul's like just saying amen to you right now of, I think my soul just wants to harness more and more in every way. I just feel like this massive creator. But a lot of this, I got to tell you, is fulfilling our principles. It really is. I'm living the 5 Ps right now.
Good.
And so it's not just like a framework. I'm seeing it. The more like I started painting. I started doing voice lessons. I painted a picture with Janet, my wife. It was like the fucking greatest
Which is
picture.
Creation energy. You're creating.
Oh my
is
gosh.
like God, the creator. It's the most divine thing we can do. And the more of that energy, whatever you want to call it, the more of that life force flowing through your body, the more magnetic you will be. So like that's what we do. So in Ziva, it's like the meditation, it de-excites the nervous system. It creates neuroplasticity. It gets the body out of fight or flight and into what I call stay and play, right? So out, like into rest and digest. And then what you're doing is like you're increasing your bandwidth and grounding the container. And then with Ziva Magic, which is the manifesting practice, we start to run the current through the body.
Okay, I need some Ziva Magic. I'm ready to go to level 2.
I mean, I think you're ready for level 2. And I think you also have it very naturally, right? Like you have it, but what Ziva Magic could do would teach you how to like harness it and channel it versus a lot of people I have to like strike the match. I have to light the fire. I have to help them light their own fire because that pilot light has gone out. Your light is very on. So for you, it's about then channeling it and directing it. It could go into your relationship. It could go into your company. It could go into whatever you want. But the thing I want to just highlight here is that for a lot of people, and I think, even in business communities, I'm seeing this across the board, there is like a surge in consciousness happening on the planet. And so people are sometimes having Kundalini awakenings or big spiritual awakenings, which is amazing, but oftentimes they don't have the foundation or the grounding or the bandwidth to hold that level of current or consciousness that comes in, and it can be destabilizing. And so like with Ziva, it's the meditation, it makes you more neuroplastic and more grounding. And then the magic, it's like meditation takes it down and the magic takes it up. So they balance each other.
That sounds so much fun. I can just say from my own experience too, is like, you and I have been talking a lot about safety, about safety is the basis. It's really hard to have these great experiences of openness, intuition, premonition, negotiation, all these powers we're talking about. It all starts with clarity and safety. And I feel like what's almost the magical bookends of what you're doing and what I'm doing is I feel like meditation, as you're saying, like if your brain is not calm, it's really hard to even get in the door to anything else. And I can tell you from a money standpoint, if you don't have clarity around your money or safety around your money, like with a map or a plan, and you're still in fear about like either unclear, I think I told you it's the hope and pray strategy. If you're still in hope and pray, like 85% of the world's in hope and pray still, like I think my financial planner knows what he's doing. If you have money, and if you don't have money, then it's just like money under the mattress and let's hope it all works out. All that keeps you from the next level, like keeping in an active brain or keeping in not being clear around your money. It's like the door that doesn't let you get to the next level. Part of fulfilling, and this is so much fun talking to you about this, is like one of the reasons why I think I'm exploding with creativity right now is because my money's handled. I'm clear, I'm safe. It's taken me a long time. I've spent years in anxiety about this. So like I'm not some guy who's going on Instagram saying, look at me, look at my great life. I'm not here to say, look how great my life is. Don't you wish you were me? I think it's gross. All I'm saying is I'm a guy who's spent years in fear and scarcity and anxiety. And ironically, I've been meditating since I was 18.
What kind of meditation were you doing?
It's on Netflix. It was a whole interesting guru who, it was like traditional Buddhist things. And I had a guru and I did everything. In college, I was meditating.
Like an expose on Netflix or no?
It's an expose on Netflix.
Can you say or no?
Yeah. If you want to watch How to Be a Cult Leader, I got involved with a guy in college who taught me to meditate.
Okay, but I just need to be, because look, like, I don't want to give meditation's a big word, right? It's like the word food.
Yeah.
And you could be talking about a Big Mac or like a blueberry smoothie. So can you elaborate on the style that you were doing?
Yeah, so it was a very traditional Indian, and this is what was interesting, and that's kind of what I was getting to. It was an Indian style of kind of a guru-disciple relationship. So you meditate a lot, and then you kind of trust the guru that the guru was going to lead you.
But when you were meditating, what were you doing?
Breath. Just
focusing on your breath.
Focusing on the breath. There's no mantra.
Okay, so they would just say like, sit down, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, count it, notice it.
Notice it and aim towards your third eye. Like really think about like the energy of connecting like a fax machine or to a modem.
Remember
to
faxes?
God.
Remember modems?
That was the time I was 21 when I was doing this. So
yeah. And did you like it? Was it helpful, the practice?
It was
or not
very
really?
helpful. But let me like for me, I actually had a moment where I really got to experience through incredible joy a moment at 18 of bliss. And from that bliss, it was really the first time that I had any navigation of a spiritual world. And once it was open to me through a miracle and kind of an accident of me just being in a very joyful state, all I wanted to know was no more. Since I was 18, I've just been a seeker to this day, a seeker of how to go deeper for love. But I spent 20 years in doing everything blocking it. You and I talked earlier about sometimes the harder you try, the further it gets away. So for me, I was actually meditating and then doing the Tony Robbins, the vision boards, trying to find the money because I wanted it all. In fact, I left early. A lot of people stayed for 25 years with this group. I left early because the guru had to tell you where you could work, who you could date, and all these things. And I knew I was too ambitious for that. Like I was a guy out to make money. Like I was just like, it was at the time I wanted to make money to prove that I was somebody. I needed to prove that and I thought I'd find love and happiness. So in my early 20s, I was dead set on making money to prove to the world that I was somebody and that I could make money and find happiness. But then I would meditate, and then I would do Tony Robbins, and I would meditate. And I did this for years. And I found a lot of stress and anxiety. And not that there wasn't moments of, great learning and things in between, but it was years and years of misery because I didn't have either one. I didn't have my money down correctly. I didn't have the right framework around money and what money actually was. I didn't understand it because, as you know, no one teaches you what it is. And I didn't have meditation down right. The guru kind of told me that, I never talk about the guru, so this is kind of interesting. The guru said basically like the way to find enlightenment is not through yourself. And the goal was enlightenment, meaning that you're in these blissful states, which is very different than what we're talking about. But in order to find that blissful state on a regular basis, you had to find an enlightened master. So in other words, you had no way to get to it. You had to go through a third party. And from that, it created a lot of manipulation. I was smart enough to leave, but there was a residue for many years of guilt, fear, like I can never find happiness if I didn't have a teacher showing me how to find fulfillment and happiness. So I've wasted a lot of years, which has really been—
Not wasted.
Really?
It's not wasted.
It gets me upset when I say it. It feels like, because it's bringing me back to the
Yeah.
pain of those times.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I just want to reflect back to you that I don't believe in wasted time, because I don't think that you would be starting Fulfillionaire right now if you didn't have 20 years in those principles and in that devotion and in that silence. Like, even if there was some humanness or malintent around it, it was still, you were putting your attention on God. You were still sitting. You were still in practice.
100%.
And like what you're teaching in Fulfillionaire is spiritual practice. You're just attributing it, and the money is the vehicle, right? So I don't think it's wasted.
That.
It's not wasted.
I just like the emotion that came to me when we were talking about it. It actually had a flashback to just how much sadness I had during that time, because I was trying so hard to prove that I was enough.
Yeah.
And I thought money was going to do it for me.
Yeah.
And I thought that if I meditated enough, that somehow white light would accidentally find me and bliss me out. And then some one key, just like if I made $1 million, or if I found that one key, that everything else would just work itself out. And that turned out to be a false pursuit.
Yeah, it's like you climb the mountain thinking that joy and bliss and fulfillment will be at the top of the mountain, and then you get there and you're still not fulfilled. And now you can see all the other mountains above you, and now you've proven to yourself that you can climb a mountain. So you think, oh, it must be the next mountain and the next mountin. Yeah. My meditation teacher was actually at like one of the Oscar parties. This is like back in the 90s or something. And it was maybe Colin Firth, or he had just won like all the Academy Awards. Like, I mean, just won like best actor, major motion picture. And my meditation teacher was there watching this man, and he had just arguably climbed Mount Everest for actors, right? Like, 1, you're a working actor. 2, you were in an Oscar-nominated film. 3, you just won the Academy Award. It's the after party.
Yeah.
And he said that all that anyone asked him all night long, what's next?
Wow.
What's your next project?
Wow.
What are you working on next?
When you get married, what is the first question?
When are you guys having
kids? We just got engaged. What do people ask?
When are you getting married?
When are you getting married? We just got engaged.
Yeah, I loved being engaged. I loved it. I'm not married anymore, but I was like champagne and cake everywhere I go. And I get to like upgrade it to sweets everywhere I go. It's great.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you're really good at that, the anticipation and the savoring. It's like, that's the sweetness.
It really is. So you've dealt with a lot of people. You've coached a lot of rooms. You've had some of the best coaching. I remember actually 3 years ago on the Summit boat, I was having a great time, but I was so overstimulated, like from all the talks, that I wandered onto the back of the boat and you were teaching. And I was shocked that like in 20 minutes, you completely changed my nervous system, because very few people, I feel like I didn't know how to do it. So like, it was a big win for me. Like, I actually have the memory in my brain. Because again, it was very exciting. I was running on adrenaline. A lot of us entrepreneurs run on adrenaline. And we also think if we get more data, if we just hear the talk from Scott Galloway or, Peter Diamandis, like the next talk somehow is going to be the hack that's finally going to get me to either happiness or my goal. I'm finally going to have my company grow if I'm just one hack away.
Yeah.
A life hack or a spiritual hack. And Summit, in some ways, I love Summit. But like I'm saying, we all become information junkies. And it turns out, like, after being so stimulated, I think I accidentally stumbled into your thing you were just starting. And it was the greatest thing that could have happened, because it gave me a minute to breathe, absorb, and actually like assimilate all that information in a way that it actually meant something. We're all so information. Like, again, information's everywhere, and information's becoming this free commodity, especially with AI. And we're all being asked, how many days are you being asked by emails? Like, check out my new podcast, check out my new AI. Like, we're all being inundated with data. But data without wisdom is a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time. Yes, you can do AI now, and yes, now we can have agents, and we can have 20 people working for us. It's not going to change your state of happiness or being until you learn these principles.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that and reflecting it back, because I, like so many others, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, if everyone can just learn Ziva meditation from like a hologram that looks like Angelina Jolie with an Australian accent, like what am I going to do for a job, And then, but to your point, it's like Ziva's not about more information. This is deeply experiential. This is recalibrating your nervous system. This is giving you a tool to remember that you're actually God pretending to be human. And that's just the meditation part, right? Like the magic part is somatic release and dance and breath and pleasure and manifesting. And it's it's so wildly human. It's just the most human thing. And so it makes me feel excited. And one of my prayers is that in the age of AI, that it does liberate us from the monotony, from the mundane, from the repeatable tasks that maybe we never should have been spending our most precious resource that we have, which is our time, on anyway. And that it frees us up both from a time perspective, but also perhaps more importantly from a consciousness perspective, to actually do the spiritual practices and to be in the play and to make love and to meditate and to frolic in the woods and to regenerate nature and to take care of our planet and to do the things that these human bodies were actually designed to do.
Right.
And my friend Jerry Simpson, who's brilliant, I had him as a guest on my podcast, and he's been working with AI for like 9 years, and he's been feeding it indigenous wisdom because he believes that, it's smarter and faster than we are. And if we can give it the right training, just like a baby, it will get to the idea that there's no such thing as a zero-sum game. Anyway, long story short, Jerry believes that we're about to have a surge in consciousness, the likes of which we have not seen since the discovery of fire.
Wow.
Because if you think about it, with fire, before fire, we had to digest all of our food in our stomachs. Fire then could pre-digest the food. So all of that blood and energy and time that we just had to take raw meat and decompose it, all that energy went up into our brains. Brains got bigger, skulls got bigger, birth became more dangerous. We started cave drawing, languages and stories started getting passed down from one generation to the next. There was this huge surge in consciousness. Well, now his theory is that AI is going to do all of the processing and the saving of data and information in a way that we won't need to anymore. And even processing or linguistic capabilities might change. So his theory is that now we get to have this potentiality that's going to free up so much bandwidth of consciousness that we have, if used well, the potentiality for a massive collective surge in consciousness, as if all of us become multisensorial, as if all of us are on mushrooms. Where it's like you look at a brain on mushrooms and the whole thing lights up. It's very similar to what happens with a brain on meditation. And so think about if your brain did not have to store your phone number and your address and the stock market and just all of the tasks of when is my thing due and my son's third grade start party, just all of that. If we do it well, and I get that this is an if, what is possible? And I just want to keep planting those seeds because what we put our attention on grows. And if enough of us start to hold the reality that perhaps we could utilize, because it is a tool, right? We still are in control to some degree. Could we utilize it to take the noise out of our awareness so that we can plug ourselves back into the divine? What happens then? What
Amazing.
Does that look like?
I love that, by the way. And I'm having my own experience. I need you as a coach. I'm gonna take that and have you coach me a little bit. So here I am. I've actually won the time game. I'm winning in so many areas. But as I said to you, purpose wealth, dialed in, people wealth. I can't imagine my community. The fact that we're friends is I'm just so grateful. I told you the one area I'm struggling is with presence wealth. And here's my struggle. And this is going to go back to what you were just saying with AI. I can be with you right now and be very, very present. You know when it's harder for me to be present?
When you're on your own.
On my own.
Mm-hmm.
And it amazes me. Here I have time. So guys, if you're watching this and you're like, how do you be a fulfillionaire? Here's a fulfillionaire telling you, I've done all the things. I've got safety, financial, there's nothing I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
If my wife wanted to go away for a year right now, we could just say, fuck it, and we're going. There's nothing. And it's amazing to me that this brain can make me so uncomfortable at this point when I'm alone with my thoughts, because the thoughts still go. So the point is, AI could enable us, and I think this is where we're at, and it's going to lead to a question to you. AI could take all these tasks off our plate. But if we don't get a better grip and take time with that mind, it's not that the mind is evil, it's a processor. So if we give it less to process, it's going to do its job and find more to process. And it will process stupid things. I have no idea, but I feel like sometimes, literally, I'm living in a dream state and I have to wake myself up to remember, and that's what meditation even would do with Ziva. It's amazing how you just start to dream all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, it's not neither good nor bad, but I would love your advice. I am meditating, and like I said, I am becoming more present, and I'm glad you can see it. My biggest challenge is myself alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, even if we get to the AI, what do we do with what's our relationship with ourself, Emily, that we can really start hacking and creating more peace to enjoy this?
I'm going to answer this on a very 3D everyday level. Someone right now is at home. I have 2 hours. I don't have my kid. I'm not working. What do I do with those 2 hours? So we had a similar thing in the 50s. We had like dishwashers and washing machines and all these things that were supposed to make our lives so much better and easier. What do we fill that time with? Watching TV.
Right.
And so the fear is that, okay, AI is doing all the jobs, OpenClaw is running all your systems, and we're just scrolling through Instagram and like making ourselves dumber and sadder and more disparate and more angry. Like that's available to us. And so on the 3D term, I would say that nature does not like a vacuum. And your mind is not like a vacuum. So rather than trying to be like, oh, I'm going to get really good at being present, I'm going to get really good at just sitting with myself and sitting with my thoughts, which, by the way, is what they used to do to us to punish us when we were little. Mm-hmm. You're in trouble, go sit in the corner, right? So it feels like somehow I'm being punished. And then all of the unprocessed feelings and emotions from your whole life are going to start to come up, which is why we all avoid it like the plague. Right. Listen to podcasts, put on TV, be on internet. Like to sit alone with our own thoughts is terrifying for most of us because we haven't had the time, tools, training, or safety to actually feel all of our unfelt feelings. So the thing I would invite people to do is that not to try and just sit alone with yourself, which is not meditation, right? Meditation is a very specific tool set where you're accessing a verifiable fourth state of consciousness. And yes, it will create a level of release, but that's happening on a pre-verbal level. It's happening on a cellular level. What I think you're talking about is like, I'm just home. I have time freedom. My wife's not there. Right. Like, what do I do in this time besides like just ruminate or play out,
or just following my list? I've got a great to-do list. Like I can always be on my to-do list. And you're never going to clear your to-do list.
Right.
That means you're living life.
Right. So I'm saying like rather than nature is not like a vacuum and your mind is not like a vacuum. So what I would recommend is like adding in very simple, very presence-inducing activities. And it could be something as simple as I'm going to walk in my yard with my shoes off. I'm going to garden and not listen to a podcast. I'm just going to get my hands in the soil. I'm going to knit. I'm going to watercolor. And I know that these are all tasks, okay? And none of what I'm saying right now is about meditation. It is about practicing a simple thing that involves your body and your mind where you can actually practice. And you could do this washing the dishes. I read a book the other day that said that if your spiritual practice isn't impacting how you wash your dishes, then it's pointless. Can you smell the soap? Can you feel the water on your skin? Can you actually shower when you're showering?
Coming up with activities that bring you into more presence easily without having to fight it.
Yeah, or simply using your activities and bringing the presence to it. Like that's what I'm doing right now with softness and slowness. Like I'm just like, this is not an emergency. Getting my son to school, he's 7 years old. If he is 10 minutes late, this is not an emergency. Like I'm no longer willing to rush in my life. And when I slow things down, it allows, there's a bigger container for more presence. Yeah. So you could do things, this is why people love surfing and skiing, because it requires enough brain power and enough of your body coordination and mind coordination where it requires full presence.
It does.
And so what I'm offering is like, instead of going after the very high intensity, adrenaline junkie things, can you bring that same level of full presence into something that's very simple? Like washing the dishes, like knitting, like drawing, like, walking in the yard and doing it. And I would say as a mindfulness practice, which I would define mindfulness as the art of bringing your awareness into the present moment, which is different than what I would define as meditation, which is where you're accessing that verifiable fourth state of consciousness, which to me feels more like a nap sitting up. So that's what I would say on like the near term sort of mundane answer. The much more advanced spiritual answer, which I think is actually extraordinarily important right now, and much of what I've dedicated the past 5 years of my life to, is that I got this download 5 years ago. And the first one was like ceremony at scale. You need to get 80,000 people at Dallas Cowboy Stadium all holding a vision for the planet and in a high state of coherence and a high state of consciousness. And it was like, wham, it was like not a suggestion. It was like a dharmic imperative. And then later on, my guide said, let go of the container. And I was like, okay. And then later on, it was like, it's the pyramids. Like, you need to do ceremony at scale at the pyramids in Egypt. You need to get 13,000 people there in coherence holding a vision for the planet. Again, not a suggestion. So for the past 3 or 4 years, I have been visioning this, figuring out teams, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And last year I took a pilgrimage, 42 people up the Nile. We climaxed literally and figuratively at the pyramids, and we had 100,000 people had sent in their prayers, and we were holding them. We made this altar, and at the pyramids at sunset, we did a Ziva magic ceremony, and we sent up this prayer, and everyone was holding their vision of heaven on earth. The prayer that I was holding was doing this 13,000 person activation. So about a month ago, I was actually in Austin, a mutual friend's, and I met a man, and I was like, oh, he could partner on this. He has the logistical firepower to really, he can execute with me. So we giddy up, making the deck, going about. I was like, I guess I'm producing a festival in Egypt. Okay, wow. Here goes. Not really my lane, not really my skill set, but I mean, it's a dharmic imperative. Cut to about 2 weeks ago, I just got invited to basically creatively curate day 3 of the first multi-day festival at the pyramids. And it is happening exactly 1 year to the day to when I planted those prayers last year. It is going to be how many people? 13,000 people at the pyramids in Egypt.
Come on.
Yeah. And so this is the power of manifestation. And it just sort of showed up. It was wild. It's actually the thing I'm most proud of manifesting in my entire life. I'm saying, but here's why I'm saying this. Because I know it might not seem related to your hey, I have a hard time being present on my own. I think that we as humans are creative by nature, right? We want to, it's we want to succeed. And that word succeed does not mean achieve a finish line. Succession is built into the word. To succeed means to evolve into the next thing, right? So we're never going to be totally satiated and just at a standstill if we're still in human bodies, right? It's just not the nature of the human experience right now. It doesn't mean we can't practice society. It doesn't mean that we can't practice pleasure and fulfillment, but we are going to be evolving. Point of the story is that part of why I think I've gotten this download, part of why I feel so drawn to be doing these large-scale activations at sacred sites around the planet is that I believe that ancient civilizations had access to states of consciousness that we have forgotten in our modern-day society. And I don't think that they're complex. I don't think that they're complicated. I think that they are exquisite and intricate, but almost simple in their complexity. And what I mean is that no one knows how the pyramids were built. It's 2026.
We don't know.
If I were to say, you go build the pyramids with all the technology, all the AI, all the industry, we could not build those pyramids.
Wow.
Still. So how the F are they there? I believe that they were built based on the state of human consciousness that we were in, that the level of connection and collaboration and cooperation that the humans had to be in unlocked a different state of consciousness that allowed them to actually interact with physics in a different way, which is I know we're being joking a little bit about the bending of spoons, but to me that seems like a microcosm of what is possible.
Well, I think quantum physics, I think we're actually starting to prove what you're saying, that there is frequencies. We know that things are frequencies now.
Yes.
So actually the quantum, science is catching up. These Google quantum machines are catching up with string theory. They're all catching up with exactly what you're saying. So it's actually not that really, I think modern science is going to change so much in the next 20, 30 years because of this, that it's incredible.
Right. And if we link this back to the AI and back to the presence, my prayer is that with this availability of consciousness that is about to come online, if AI is taking the sort of mundane tasks out of our awareness, if harnessed correctly, and I believe if guided by our ancient history, if we can bring the ancient modalities into our future, I think we have the potentiality to create heaven on earth. And so that is my invitation to everyone. And I think that this is where our work is not dissimilar. We just use different words.
Yeah.
But when you're okay, what's your freedom number? It's to some degree, that's people inviting them to feel what does heaven on earth look like for them personally. And so my invitation is just to pull the lens out a little bit wider and start to look at what does your version of heaven on earth look like? Yes, for you, because you're part of earth, but also for the whole planet. And from that state, if we get enough people putting our attention on that reality, and then my theory is if we get into state of very high coherence and at these sacred sites, which are almost like acupressure points on the planet, that it just expedites the manifestation of that. And so rather than oh, I have this time now, I'm just going to sit and be, what if we use that spaciousness to advance our own state of consciousness and very clearly direct that towards the reality that we want to create together.
I love that. I'm like really taking you on that. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I can also tell where it also, I'm balancing with you with Fulfillionaire, is the more you start to feel the safety, and you know, again, if you want to take the word success, I love what you said about success. I think a lot of people are like, look at JP, he's a success, as if like I achieved a status. Like you've achieved some financial status. Like how many of you out there are either chasing to be successful or people have deemed you a success because you hit something that society looks at as really valuable. When the truth is, to you said, like, there's no finish line here. We just keep going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
But the advanced states of that time is the more you give that energy a creative outlet, not only for yourself and your family, but for your community. And that's what I talk about. The hack for Fulfillionaire, guys, the fulfillment is basically becoming a servant. I always say, like, I love what Aspen Institute says. How do you go from success to significance? And I love that because you're successful now. If you're watching this, you're alive, you're breathing. Like, we are all successes in our own ways. We all have been given God-given talents, but like, so going from success to significance is what I hear you say. It's like significance doesn't mean you have to win an Oscar. It means exactly what you're saying. It's like you stand up for people. You stand up for humanity. And by standing up for these little actions, whether it's a donation of time or money or any of the 4 Ps that you're doing, you're setting out a resonance, the resonance you're talking about, the pyramids. You're actually, I can just tell you this is just my experience. It creates a resonance that more success and more love and more joy, and it just multiplies. It's like it's nothing to do with me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the excuse. I'm just sitting here in a meat suit talking to you right now, like having fun with this. You know, when I've developed the 4 Ps, I started out with time wealth, but because I realized like so many coaching books talk about time wealth, and it never sat right with me because I actually don't believe when entrepreneurs hear you should work less and spend more time with your children, my response to that is not necessarily. There's times in life to work hard. There's different phases. I worked my ass off. I mean, to get here, I've spent countless 100-hour weeks to get where I'm at today. And so what looks easy now was not always easy. I promise you, Ziva, you've worked your tail off. People don't get successful by accident. It takes a lot of work. So I decided that time is not really the issue for entrepreneurs. We all have the same amount of time, rich or poor. Mm-hmm. What we're really missing in wealth is presence wealth. And the way I describe it when I'm on stage is that, and I feel like my question is, I feel like there's more to it. Like I'm still trying to understand presence wealth. My understanding of presence wealth, to me, like my relationship with it is, it becomes about your relationship with time. So it's not about time, it's about your relationship with time. And what I mean by that is kind of everything we've been talking about, like what's going on in your mind, how present are you? How are you showing up? But I feel like presence wealth is probably so much more. And so I knew instinctually that time wealth isn't something I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about presence wealth. So what I'm asking you is, what do you think presence wealth? If you're listening to this podcast, and whether you're a meditator, a business person, or a business person who meditates, how would you define presence wealth?
It's something that gets reflected back to me quite a lot. They're like, oh God, you're so present. Like people really feel that I'm with them. But I think it's not just how with the moment you are, it's how much of you can you bring to the moment. Like basically like how much God is flowing through your vessel.
Yes.
How much consciousness is flowing through your mind and body. So it's not just that 100% of Emily is here. It's like how much of God is flowing through this vessel that you feel. And so to me, it's not really a presence conversation as much as it is. I mean, sure, there's people who are distracted or in the past or in the future, and that's presence. That's sort of basic. Like, do I have the capacity to even give you my full attention? Or am I like on my phone or really stressed out about this deal?
You're actually on a cocktail party. Are you like, they're already thinking, you already can tell they're thinking.
Yeah.
Like they're on their cocktail personality with you.
Yep.
It's all staged.
Who's next?
They're going to say the thing they've said 15,000 times before. Yeah. That story.
So what I think where the mastery comes in and where this becomes advanced is when you start to usher yourself into higher states of consciousness. And what meditation does is that it allows you to increase your state of consciousness. And there's 3 attributes of high states of consciousness. One is the ability to hold many things in one awareness, which is different than multitasking, right? That I could be at a cocktail party and fully taking you in all the way and aware of all the surroundings and aware of that my kid is at home and aware of the stock market, but I'm still here. The ability to hold many things in one awareness effortlessly. That you are less likely to make a mistake. Because what's a mistake? It's that you took something to be one thing when it was actually something else. And this is one of my favorite lines from the Vedas, which is that the truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing. The truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing.
Wow.
And that comes from that fulfillment, from that meditation inside of you. And if you are more fulfilled, then you're not going to be seeking for something to be something other than what it is. Right? You can actually see it. Oh, this guy's not tipping the waiter. I'm not going on a second date with this person. Or like, this is a bad deal. This person's lying. I can tell it. So you're less likely to make a mistake because you're wiping the lens of longing away from your perception, which allows you to see the truth more clearly. Right? Simultaneity of consciousness. And less likely, we talked about this earlier, you can start to see the themes and patterns in real time. Right? Like this is the 3rd attribute of higher states of consciousness.
Almost intuition,
ability
or
to
like
see
intuition,
the patterns. Yeah.
something like
yeah.
that.
It's like the more you have dexterity of your 5 senses, it wakes up your 6th sense. The more present you are, it is the future in the making. So you can start to see the themes and habits all around you. And most of us are really good at seeing other people's themes and habits. God, if that guy would just stop dating that kind of girl. Or man, if he was, why does he keep making those deals? But we can't see it when it's ours, And so you start to be able to see your own themes and patterns. So it's like, to me, presence and consciousness, they're not synonyms, but they're very intimately related. And so the bigger your bandwidth, the higher your capacity to bring in more consciousness, the more present you become. And also the quality of your presence is received by the other person in a way that feels really good.
100%. I'm sure you and I get that a lot. Like people like JP, I hear people say a lot of times to me, when I'm with you, I feel like you're not, like you're just 100% with me. Like you're not in a room looking around the party. You're just like, whatever I'm saying, I feel like you're really with me. And I get a lot of appreciation for that. And the funny thing is that now at this point, because I certainly was not like that for many, many years, it's nice that it's appreciated from people, because people feel it's a way of telling people you actually really care.
Yeah.
And if it's something you're not super interested in, so then you go to something else. But like, even if it's 30 seconds or a minute of consciousness for that person, it's better than 2 minutes of BS in some ways.
Amen. And in a day and age where everyone's on their phones, it's really a gift.
Yeah,
and we
totally.
should probably.
Totally. Okay. My last question, we're going to wrap this up, is play wealth. It's another one that people don't talk about, play wealth. And I love about you that so you take Ziva, you get 250,000 people, you have the first online platform, but that's not enough. It's got to become the biggest platform. And then you start to move as you go through your consciousness about play. And what I love about you is play for you. And I want to talk to you what play is for you. I'm going to ask you the question, but what I can see is that play for you is vitality. It is aliveness. It is sensuality. And it's sexuality. And it's all the things. And when you walk into a room, people can feel it. I mean, you've got this incredible, like, the vitality and the aliveness shows through. I'd love to hear from you. How do you see your play wealth in the realms of 4D wealth? What's your play wealth about for you? And where does sensuality and sexuality and play have to do with money and fulfillment? Because that's not usually talked about in business podcasts.
Well, I think this past year was very much a year of studentship for me. I spent 17 years teaching. In the last year, I was really a student. I went and I was a participant in a mastermind that was all about pleasure, and I went to some deep somatic, like inner child work training with some of my best friends. Like deep work with 24 of my friends. Like, this is my idea of a good time. Like, let me heal my daddy issues with my best friends for a week, sober. And then I did a week-long Tantra advanced training with this amazing living master who taught in the United States for the first time, again, with all my best friends. And so
I just met that person.
yeah,
Incredible.
Sarita, Anand Sarita.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
amazing. And so for me, like my form of play right now is very much learning, but it's learning about the things that I love: somatic healing, tantric practices, the body becoming a vessel to bring the frequency of heaven to earth, and doing that with my friends. Like, we are so lucky, but I mean, I think that my friends are just like the best.
They are the best.
Like, world class. We are the luckiest.
The luckiest.
Like the wealthiest, like top 0.01% on the planet. and so anytime I'm learning about the things that I love with my friends, oftentimes in amazing locations, and sometimes being paid to do that.
Yeah, that's my favorite day. But when I get paid to do it, oh my God.
And that's like most of my life right now. Like, I'm either with my son, who's amazing and 7, right? So we're like playing Pokemon. And last week he was out of school the whole week, and I was working full time. So it was not a joke. And I'm like single momming. So it's like, all right, like sacred straddle. And I was really proud of, I like made him like a syllabus, and I was like, okay, buddy, you're going to like work out, and you're going to do math, and you're going to make art, and you're going to go outside, and then you can watch TV. So we had to like do his things. But I was like, I have to work out. Like, I have to move my body for my own mental health. So I would have him make up Pokemon workouts for me. So it was like, I wasn't like going to take a yoga class. He was teaching me Pokemon moves.
That's great.
And so it's like a way, like, how can you make all of it play?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just so terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I think people don't understand that play is, like, I know we could do a whole episode on this, and I'll try to wrap it up, but like, to really create success, the version of success, whether it's financial success, and that's why I put play wealth as one of my 4 fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Play is the gateway to joy, aliveness, creativity, which is ultimately, if you want to manifest money, if that's important to you, and it should be, by the way, just in the right order, play is a huge gateway to that.
Yep.
And I love when you keep talking about bringing heaven to earth. Like, that really resonates to me.
Yeah. It's real. I'd say it's my number one dharmic mission of like, can I give people the tools to embody the frequency of heaven on earth? Not later, not once you get more money, right fucking now.
Yeah. I'm kind of just blown away. First, I want to thank you for your presence and your time of sharing with my community, the Fulfillionaire community. I've learned a lot. I think presence, you've just expanded in a lot of areas. I feel like I've taken a lot from this. So hopefully the audience as well. Mm-hmm. And if people want to find more about you, about Ziva, what's the best way to follow you or find you? Mm-hmm. Or learn about meditation? What would you recommend they do? I'd love to hear.
So everything's at our website, which is zivameditation.com, and Ziva, Z-I-V-A.
Okay.
So zivameditation.com, the course, there's a free masterclass there if people want to understand more about like the neuroscience of why this particular style is so powerful. Ziva Online is like it's like level 1 meditation training. Ziva Magic is more of the advanced, more like manifesting training. And then I also do, I'm starting to do more private office, family office things and privates, which I'm really enjoying. Like, I've been doing one-to-many for so many years that now I'm really enjoying like partnering with people who are really moving the needle in industries that I might not touch directly, but where I can like help to bring these ancient tools and these modalities into different industries and help to shift the consciousness there. That's really exciting to me. And also with family offices, it's like people don't realize, but like some of these simple foundational tools can really revolutionize the types of relationships inside of the family, the dynamics, and just create more ease, play, and presence.
With your company, team members too, I'll tell you, it makes such a difference on how your team sees you.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to do one of your meditations, if they said, I'd like to try a 10 or 20-minute meditation, is there anywhere that they can sample a meditation? Do they need to sign up for your course?
Yeah, what I would recommend is, I do like guided ceremonies and guided visualizations, but to me, if you want to learn to meditate, like it's a training, it's an initiation. There's really a before and after. And the Ziva meditation training that you did is 15 days.
It's great.
It's 15 minutes a day, and then you graduate with a technique and a tool that you take with you for life. So it's not like a YouTube video where I'm just guiding you through something. So what I can do is I can gift your audience, they can take the first 3 days for free.
Wow.
So you can just go to zivameditation.com/preview.
Okay.
And then they can try out the first 3 days. And then if they're like, okay, I get it, this woman's not full of shit, let's go, then they can just enroll in the rest of the course.
That is just wonderful. And by the way, that is such a huge gift because I've done it. It is so easy and so accessible and fun. That if any of you out there, if you've heard everything, you've actually stayed here to the end, or maybe I'll even put this as a separate piece, I would take Emily up on that because I promise you after 3 days, you'll know after 3 days, you'll feel the difference. Like You won't, it doesn't take that long to actually feel the difference of just committing to 15 minutes twice a day.
Yeah. Well, in the first 2 days, you're just taking the videos.
Right.
In the first 2 days, it's just once a day.
Just videos.
I'm gonna build them up.
Okay.
I'm gonna build them up.
Once a day.
Twice a day is coming
Once
soon.
a day. Emily, thank you for everything. I so appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Yeah. To be continued.
To be continued.
Okay.